Hello and welcome back to revise GCSE history.co.uk. This is the first video in the topic of medicine in the Renaissance, and in video 1 today we're going to be looking at Renaissance civilization and what it was like to live in the Renaissance. So firstly, what exactly do we mean when we say Renaissance? What dates are we talking about for this time period? Well, roughly the Renaissance is from 1450 to 1750, and I must point out that this is roughly. We cannot be sure of when the Renaissance actually starts and finishes, but this is the date you need to be aware about. I'd say it's quite important that you know when this is, because one of the source exam questions could have a date on it, and you need to know when each of the different time periods are. So 1450 to 1750. Before this, we've got, if we think this way, we've got, medieval, and this side of things, we've got the 18th and 19th centuries. So the next sort of topic we talk about is the 19th century. There we are, and that's from 1750 onwards. So when we're talking about this, the Renaissance is roughly 450 to, sorry, what am I on about? The Renaissance is roughly 1450 to 1750. So, the Renaissance. The word Renaissance means rebirth. It began with close study of classic medical texts, and people were critical of old translations. So, rebirth, classic medical texts had their rebirth, and ancient medical ideas had their rebirth too. Renaissance means rebirth. In the Renaissance, there was a greater interest in how the human body worked based on observation and dissection, and famous artists attended dissections of human corpses and did excellent illustrations for medical books. So, such as these here. This is an illustration from a medical book, and this one here is of the baby in the womb, and that is from Leonardo da Vinci. That one there, Leonardo da Vinci. The return of classic texts led to a renewed faith in the theory of the four humours developed by Aristotle and treatment by opposite humours. So they began to believe in these two theories once again. First one, four humours, second, opposite humours. So what factors affected medical progress in the Renaissance? We've already said that famous artists attended dissections, but what other factors affected the progress of medicine? The printing press. The printing press was invented in 1454. There's the date for that. You don't specifically need to know the date for that, but I'd just say the late. I need to be aware that it was invented in the late 1400s. Or 1454. And printed books meant ideas could be spread more rapidly. Before, the only way of publishing books was to write them by hand. In the Middle Ages, what happened is monks hand-wrote medical books, and that meant that errors could be made. It was a slow process, and ideas couldn't be spread very easily and rapidly. Here, in this source, we can see the printing press in the late 1400s used to print medical books, so medical ideas could be shared more quickly and more easily. Second factor that affected medical progress, we're going to move that over there, it's just in the way, is warfare. There were many wars across Europe during the Middle Ages, and surgeons had the opportunity to experiment with new treatments and methods. Another factor is ancient learning. There was a renewed interest in ancient learning during the Renaissance. People began to challenge old medical ideas. Another factor is artists. We've already mentioned this. Medical drawings were drawn by skillful artists. Medical drawings were published in medical books, and new anatomy books were produced which contain these drawings. And the great artists include Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, who were popular in the Renaissance. If you've ever studied art, you've probably looked at the Renaissance art, and if you go to Italy, there are lots of Renaissance art galleries, such as the Uffizi in Italy. The weakening power of the church also affected medicine. There were no longer religious beliefs about the cause of disease. People started to look for natural causes, and doctors could now dissect human corpses. Machinery, while there was an improvement in clocks, watches, pumps, and other machines, pump mechanisms led people to suggest that the heart is a pump, and this was actually developed, this idea, later on in the Renaissance, and we'll be looking at that a bit more in later videos. So, that's the end of all the knowledge you need to know for today's video on Renaissance civilization. 2 slides here, quite densely packed full of information, so you might need to go over them a couple more times to make sure you've got this stuff nailed. Here are 4 quick questions based on the content of this video today. You may wish to pause the video here and have a go at the questions yourself. If not, carry on watching and we'll do them together. Alright, so the answers to the questions. Question 1. What does the word Renaissance mean? Renaissance means rebirth. Question 2. How did skillful artists influence the development of medicine? Anatomical drawings for medical books. They're very detailed and helped doctors to understand ideas. They did drawings of human corpses. How did warfare influence the development of medicine? Surgeons had the opportunity to experiment with new techniques, to try out new techniques. And question 4. How did the invention of the printing press influence the development of medicine? Well, that influenced the development of medicine because ideas could be spread more rapidly now that books could be printed. Not going to have a chance to fit that last bit in. Now that books could be printed. Alright, so there are the answers to the quick 4 quiz questions for this video. Thank you for watching the video today. This is the first video in the topic, Renaissance civilization. Carry on watching to find out more about medicine in the Renaissance. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the work of the 3 key individuals in the medical Renaissance. Thanks for watching, see you soon.